Time to make the world's most awesome and advanced steering wheel for a Barbie camper, which is not hard to do because there aren't any other ones. Now that we have CNC plasma cutting capabilities, I'm going to use actual CAD to design a really cool steering wheel using this Barbie emblem that you'll see in various places all over this Barbie car. I'm going to use that as the centerpiece of the steering wheel here, right where the bolt pattern is. I'm just gonna be sitting in here in my Barbie office, doing my Barbie CAD. Got my piece of scrap steel, got my file all loaded up. Let's see how it cuts. I'm no expert at actual computer CAD, so here's hoping it doesn't do something stupid. Our plasma cutter is not the best plasma cutter ever, so it overheated just now from cutting too long and too fast. So I had to pause, or I had to stop the program on here, let the plasma cutter cool down, and then run the first half of the program and pause it so that I can start it at the same point that it stopped. So let's see if this thing's cooled down yet. Not yet. But if we turn it off and on again, it'll trick it. All right, turn the torch back on and hit play. Wow. Imagine that, it's still warm. You know how I was saying I'm no expert at this whole CNC thing. I didn't get this piece of metal lined up quite right, so there's an edge missing there, but it'll be easier to just add a little piece there than, you know, waste a whole chunk and cut out a new one. Other than that, it cut out super minty. Honestly, there's only one little error right there, and that's probably my fault for, you know, the way I programmed the, you know, tool paths and stuff, but like, look at that detail on the face. That's freaking awesome. Just look at that fitment there. I just have to cut out the back so it, you know, actually goes in there. It fits in there super well, but honestly, it would look a lot better if it had overlap so you couldn't see the gaps at the top and bottom. So I'm gonna reopen this file on the computer and modify it so that it just overlaps by like a 1/4 inch on all sides, and then I can make some sort of tabs to attach it to whatever I want to. Look at that. That's gonna look, whew, looks so good. Whoever wins our Arc Droid giveaway, I'll send you some of my failed CAD, or failed plasma cuts if you want it, you know, failed grills and stuff. So, you know, or maybe there'll be second place prizes or something. I don't know. We'll give them away if anybody wants them. So, we gotta interrupt the building for a second because we have to go pick up a very large package from a shipping company. It's like 530 pounds. So, I think I know what it is, but I'm honestly not 100% certain. Go get it! Well, one more trip in the crusty old Chevy. This brings back memories of King of the Hammers.
Oh no!
Oh. There's a trench across the driveway right now. The melt off is happening.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Sweet. All right. If you know anything about tools, this box is from Bailey Industrial. Got myself a work desk for doing my CAD inside the Barbie camper. Look at that. It's a Barbie emblem steering wheel center bit. The ever-growing challenge of finding space for all the new tools in this shop.
Yes, it is very challenging. If you look around us, if you look at all the walls, there's not an inch of space around here.
Nope. And we usually have way more projects in here than we do right now.
Yeah.
We pushed them all out just so we could get this in here.
Yeah, and now we have to find a spot for it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we'll just keep removing chunks of the bench. That's what I do every time I get a new tool. I just move more of the bench. Like first, the bench used to go like the whole length. I cut off some for the Piranha, and then some more for the lathe, and then some more for the mill. So I think it's time for the next chunk to go away and become firewood, so we can stay warm. Everybody else left on Friday, I kept doing CAD until like 2 a.m. Time to see the results. Here's the CAD drawing of the steering wheel, and you can see behind it, it's kind of a roughed-in design, but that's the paddle for the brake. So in this case, we only need one paddle. Normally we have a clutch and a brake. Obviously this is an automatic, so we don't need a clutch, and there's already a foot brake for the rear, so this is just front brakes. Those two holes there are for bolting on the brake master cylinder. So this is one of the cool things about CAD is you can design in stuff built into a part instead of having to like add it on later. So here is the part I cut out. Look at that. So this was supposed to just be a test. And I'm actually gonna try cutting it out of aluminum and see how that works. I'm gonna first try the paddle because I want that to be aluminum because it needs to weld to. So the paddle for the brake is just gonna weld onto this existing lever here. It's just easier to use the pivoty part of it because it's already there. So I'm gonna cut some aluminum, see how it cuts. If it cuts cleanly enough, then I'm just gonna recut the whole steering wheel out of aluminum as well because it'll be lighter and stiffer. And of course, these edges here are very sharp and not pleasant to hold on to. So I'm thinking I'm gonna try wrapping it in paracord and see how comfortable that is. I think that'll be fine because inevitably you're gonna be wearing gloves most of the time when you ride one of these. And then if that works, we'll get some hot pink paracord and make it extra shiny. You can see the brake master cylinder took a minute to figure out where I could put it that would actually work. That bolts on there, and the brake lever here clears the steering column all the way around. Obviously, if you had more than 90 degrees of rotation on the steering wheel, it would be a problem, but we don't. We have less than 90 degrees. Going on another treasure hunt for some aluminum stock to make these steering wheel parts out of. You know, the usual. There we go. Oh man, I don't know if there's a spot in here big enough to cut out the whole steering wheel. That's annoying. Because the breaker tripped again, I just have this one little cut to make. So I'm just gonna cut it roughly by hand using the arc droid. This is kind of cool that you can even just do this. But you can just hold it and run it. I'm just gonna cut that out and then I'll just smooth it out on the belt grinder. It's not worth trying to redo the whole thing. Honestly, that's a really cool feature of the Arc Droid, that you can just run it around by hand. Gives you the perfect height above the material. It's not easy to be smooth because it's got these little like notchy feelings in the motors, but you know, for this sort of situation, it totally works. Look at that. Clean up the holes. Well, I think that came out really nice. It weighs almost nothing. It's very rigid, and just have to fill in that for aesthetics. I mean, it's still plenty strong, so that's, you know, I just need to fill it in and clean it up. Because I'm dealing with a super not square piece of metal on a random table, this is like a little different than a regular plasma cutter. Like a regular plasma table, you just put this square into the corner and that's, you know, where it would start. But this thing, you can move the torch around to see, like I could put it here and hit 0, and that would be the 0 point for the pattern, which is, you know, set when you do CAD, like where the 0 point is. But I have it set to, you know, the 0 point somewhere over here, so then I can zero it where I think it needs to be, and then I can kind of run it over so it has a little green dot where it is on the pattern. So I can run it around and check to make sure it's going to clear, like where this hole is going to end up is going to be, in fact, in the middle of nowhere in the center of a piece that's being cut out. So I wanted to do a time lapse of this, so I'm going to put my phone in the vise. It's perfect. You can adjust the angle of the phone by tightening or loosening it, and you can adjust the angle this way. It's ideal. Well, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to use this yet. I don't know. We'll see with a little more cleanup, but like it's just not as shiny as the steel one. Like the steel cuts so perfectly. But yeah, I mean it is super, super light. And it's pretty dang rigid too. Like, it's got a little flex to it, but it doesn't just bend, so that's good. Well, that looks funky fresh. So I think for now, I've got it sandwiched in behind these screws, or behind these headlight corners. And I'm just gonna grab the hot glue gun and just glue it in for the moment. I'll worry about making a tab later if I feel like I need it. But honestly, hot glue works pretty well on this plastic. And like, this only needs to come out to be painted and then be put back in, and then it can just stay there forever. I've had this glue gun since, I think probably since I was in about 3rd grade. I was really into hot gluing things back then. Look at that. Well, ignore all of my greasy handprints, but look at that grill. It's a grill worthy of a rap video right there. Man, look at how much it's faded from being in the sun. It was out in the sun like 2 days. So, got my paddle bent very nicely, and that's why I left it nice and skinny here so that it would bend easy, and also, of course, so that it would line up on the original brake lever from when this was a motorcycle brake. Driving along, brakes. we got ourselves a brake lever and a master cylinder. Just gonna bend the edge of the steering wheel up just a little bit. And just for aesthetics. Got that slight little bend to it, which looks nice, and it has the benefit of making it so that this can go all the way to, you know, bottoming out, so we can get as much braking as possible. When I did my CAD for this handle, steering handle, I was just like, you know, I'll make it close, and if it runs anything, I'll grind it down. So I'm making my little tab thing here. One of my favorite little tools that I always destroy rather rapidly, and that's a tap drill. So it drills and taps all at once. And that's why it always breaks, because you suddenly go through and then it just and breaks. But I picked up some new ones because they're like $10 at Harbor Freight for this whole little pack of them. I think it's actually less than that. You know, maybe if I bought higher quality ones, they wouldn't die so quickly. But this way we can drill and tap this. And then no nut will be required. Isn't that just satisfying? So satisfying. Drilled and tapped. All at once. Super worth it, because it looks awesome. I feel like what we do has always been ridiculous, but now that we have like really high quality tools to do it with, like now I'm doing CAD to make like custom CNC cut grills and steering wheels for a plastic Barbie car. It's amazing. The irony is hilarious. Just had our morning coffee here, and I'm doing a little bit of morning CAD to go with my morning coffee. I'm designing up a single piece version of this setup. This is the throttle assembly out of the brute force, and I'm making it a single plate that's gonna look something like, well, something like that. And then I have a plan for the pivot and, you know, how that's all gonna work. So I'm just gonna draw this up real quick, and then, you know, we'll cut it out with Arc2D2, and we'll be that much closer to throttling.
Yo,
You
Will.
swindled into full adulthood.
I know, I'm adult now.
Yeah, Will turned 21
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Happy
Feels-
birthday,
Happy
dude.
birthday, Will.
Dude, check out this.
This steering wheel's sick. Dude, I love the mount brackets for this. That's awesome. That is so cool.
This thing is looking indecently good. I need it to be like this, where it's got two sides, so the cable will be sandwiched in between. So I'm actually just gonna cut, you know, half of this piece off and weld it on there. Got the pivot sleeve here all bolted together and vice gripped in place. So now I'm just gonna tack it on there and then do a test. Got the throttle all in there, and this is my plan to hold the cable. So obviously there's not a lot of clearance. It has to clear the brake lever there. A piece of aluminum stock that'll be welded to this, and then it'll kind of come up and over and sneak down into this space here and weld to that. Look at that! we've got a functioning brake, we got a very functioning throttle, and a sweet steering wheel. I wish that this cable situation could be Bluetooth. It just really clutters up the perfect aesthetic here, but you know, it's pretty good considering what it is. I need to finish welding that and stuff, but I think it came out really nice. I love being able to plasma cut stuff and having a lot of fun learning CAD, so you know, expect a lot more ridiculous CNC stuff in the future. And if you want to be able to do sweet CNC plasma stuff like this, go to our website, check out the merch, get entered to win the Arc Droid and a plasma cutter.